Face front, true believers. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds issue 111. We are the weekly show where two nerds assemble every once in a while to bring you the latest nerdy news, reviews, and occasionally pitch things. I'm Cap, and joining me today, as always, best friend, fellow nerd, and man whose face is on the $4 bill, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how are you doing today?
What's up, everybody?
So, sorry about last week. I've been dealing with appliance hell, contractor hell, but anyways, we have a lot to talk about. My goodness gracious, what has happened since then and now? We've had I'm 2 episodes behind, but Secret Invasion ended. I got to see Rogers the Musical in person. We had Harley Quinn dropped. We had the Adam Eve spin-off, the one-off thing we can weigh in on with the Oppenheimer versus Barbie and all the
Invincible 2 is going to be coming out shortly, so it's kind of like a prelude to that.
Right. So good. So I watched that this morning. We had this last week's Behold Nerds, which was All-Star Superman. We also have probably what's going to be another awesome round of battle nerds between Han Solo versus James Bond. But yeah, first off, we have a lot to cover in the 2 weeks we've been off. So, nerdy news, yeah?
Yeah, just
so we should
a couple of things.
So, a couple things really quick. I noticed this morning just now that OBS no longer is linked to Twitter. I'm not sure why, but it's
also
not even,
just FYI did not send out a YouTube notification.
Well, if you're subscribed and you hit the notify, then you'd be notified.
Yeah. Oh no, I did on my phone, just not on my computer. Okay.
No. So, anyways, with everything going on with Twitter right now, who knows what's going to happen there? But, anyways, Frosty, how you feeling? How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm actually still asleep.
Oh.
I just I literally rolled out of bed and then I was like, must do show.
It's
but I managed to. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm functioning somewhat. It's just I'm disabled, so
yeah.
I don't have a job, and I wake up when I want, and I sleep when I need, I should say.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing it.
But anywho, good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm just checking some of our links and stuff in the background while Cap was chatting. Yeah, we can jump into some nerdy news. All right. Well, first up, this is more of just a shout out than news item. I just think this is cool. I haven't seen it yet, and when I watch it, I'll definitely give it a review. But Good Omens season 2 is now streaming. Can't wait to watch it. But it's got a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. So.
Okay. Yeah, you had mentioned the show before. I'm so far behind on everything, dude. Like it's. Yeah. I didn't have a remote for 4 days because it ended up being thrown out by accident in boxes of crap. So it's just been everything has been disheveled. But you had mentioned this. This is the one where the two angels come down. It's like the apocalypse or something.
It's an angel and a devil, and they've been competing against each other for so long that they're just kind of like buddies now,
like homies. Okay.
Yeah, and because they've just been doing it for so long, and then but yeah, the son of Satan is on Earth. It's basically Omen, that movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's that movie, but he's on Earth, and then they switch him, and so he grows up in a normal household, and it's all that kind of. So it's a joke on those movies or satire.
Okay.
But it's so funny. It was written by the late great Terry Pratchett and still alive and great Neil Gaiman. It's an excellent book. And this is one of the few times where I watch a show and I'm like, I enjoy it even though I know the book, the source material. Because a lot of times when you read the book first, the show's always disappointing. But yeah, check it out. Highly recommend it.
Yeah. We're still a season behind on What We Do in the Shadows, and the New Year's season just dropped, and we love that show. It's just I
haven't seen that show in a while, but yeah, it's a good show.
Anyways, what else do we have?
All right, so on to the news. This has been out for a while, but we weren't here last week, so I thought I'd mention it. A Gargoyles live action movie is in development.
Yes.
With Kenneth Branagh as the director.
Yes.
He directed Thor. Is one of the good movies he directed.
Mm-hmm.
The absolute piece of shit movie he also directed was Artemis Fowl. Have you ever seen that movie?
My youngling.
It's a kids movie,
yes,
but
my youngling went through an Artemis Fowl phase, and she was conflicted about the movie. It didn't quite capture the book, obviously, but yeah,
the
I
movie
never saw it.
is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Is it?
No, it's so bad. I never thought or heard of it. I was just looking for something to watch, put on Disney Plus. Artemis Fowl, I'm like, it's like some Harry Potter shit. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Right.
Put it on. Good God. It's so bad.
My youngling will lecture you right now about the universe and all of that. Yeah, I've never watched it, but it's not my thing.
Well, I mean,
but
Harry Potter shit isn't my thing in general.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, you're just sitting there looking for something to watch, and you're like, whatever.
Right.
But,
So,
yeah, no.
in similar old school remake news, apparently Ryan Reynolds is in talks to do. Like, I watched it, it just didn't do anything for me.
I thought it was cool as shit, but I was an aspiring biker, so
right. Like it was cool. It just
I was bike curious.
Right. Bike curious. So I thought the premise was like there's a lot that is cool about the show. It just never really like I can have it on as ambient noise and occasionally tune in and be entertained, but I can like also play with like my Legos or something while it was on and just be content.
No. Of all of the for me anyway, of all of the animal human shows like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all of that,
right?
Biker Mice from Mars, like of that era, it's probably my favorite.
Well, you're not a Street Sharks fan?
Yeah. Biker Mice from Mars, like they ate chili dogs, so they had their thing,
Right.
There was root beer and chili dogs, and then they had cool motorcycles and
right.
You had the charismatic one, you had the leader, but my favorite character was the one with the robot arm.
Right.
And yeah, he was the badass of the group.
See, I like the charismatic one. It was the white one, I think.
Yeah. He had the sport bike.
Yep. I like that guy.
Oh, speaking of motorcycles, what shocked me? I was playing video games with fellow nerd Joe. I told him I was going to talk about this on the show. And I was like, oh, that motorcycle looks like the motorcycle from Akira. And then he was like, what's that? He's an anime nerd, and he doesn't know Akira.
Like, know your roots, Joe. I know Akira, damn it. Actually, what's funny is it's kind of getting ahead of ourselves. The Adam Eve episode sort of had an Akira vibe at the end with the little goobers that she was fighting. Tiny bit had Akira vibe, but anyways,
yeah, a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, I just thought it was hilarious. Anywho, oh, you said Biker Mice from Mars, so live action.
Yeah.
I mean, do I think that's needed? No.
But it's Ryan Reynolds' company. His production company is Maximum Effort. Is the name of it. So allegedly, they are going to be rebooting that franchise. Okay, why not? The 90s are nostalgic now. Give me a Mighty Max, damn it! Give me a Mighty Max. You can do it.
Mighty Max worked better as a series.
Oh yeah. Just give me a Mighty Max series. In fact, bring back Exo Squad. We're so close. I can taste it.
I would watch more Exo Squad.
I'd watch the shit out of more Exo Squad.
Just pick it up where it left.
Yeah, just right there. It was fine.
Yeah, because like the war is over, and now they're going. Then they discover that alien thing. And they sent out a wave, and then he's like, "Oh God!" And yeah, I want it. I want it there.
Like right there.
Anywho, what else? Oh, so Universal apparently is still very invested in making a live action Invincible movie.
Okay.
Fellow nerd at Real Super Killers, he said unnecessary. I was like, dude, Invincible's awesome. Like it's one of the few things where I read the book, watched the show, still love the show.
Right.
You know, so if they can do that by shifting it in animation, can they do that in a movie? Maybe. Although then again, that's a lot of. I guess you could do a part of the story. You wouldn't be able to do the whole story.
Right.
Because Invincible gets pretty crazy later on. It turns into full blown Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned that, which is cool. I'm so glad that we're getting more of this. And what is it, September or is it October?
I forget, but it's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited for it as well.
I'm stoked for it.
All right. Let's see. Oh, so a couple of release updates. Venom 3 is going to be released in July 2024, July 12th specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And then Craven the Hunter apparently has been delayed back to August 30th,
2024. Yeah. Well, writer's strike, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're using AI bots to sort of like fill in the holes of the movie. Yeah.
I don't think they're allowed to or something like that yet. I don't. Writer's strike sucks. I feel bad for the writers. One person that does follow us is anti-writer's strike, which is weird. I've seen him debating everybody on Twitter for a while.
It's Bob Iger in disguise. He's pretending to be just a normie trying to get people to support him. Yes. See through you.
So okay, this is kind of funny. Apparently, there was a fart opera scene that was cut from Barbie. After negative test screening reactions, Greta Gerwig, direct quote, I thought it was really funny. That was not the consensus. I mean, it sounds funny to me.
I'm all on board. I'm all on board.
Fart opera.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that episode of South Park with the Queef sisters, and everybody's all horrified over the Queefs, and then at the end they stand trial, and then you get the Road Warrior, and everybody's just horrified. Like, that's you know, it's
apparently the Road Warrior was too much.
You know what? There's going to be some extended edition. The world will see this at some point. So, you know what this reminds me of? Did you ever hear of the Red Band episode of Dexter's Laboratory?
Yeah.
So
I've actually seen it. It's been released.
Yeah. So for years, Cartoon Network swore that they would never release it, to where it became just a thing of urban legend until they released it. And I believe that this can be the same thing, Frosty. They might try to suppress the fart opera, but it's just a matter of time before the demand for the fart opera. It's like the butthole version of Cats. It's just a matter of time. Release the fart opera. Yes. Take to Twitter /X/ whatever and start the release the fart opera. Yes. Release the fart opera.
The fart opera cut.
The fart opera cut, yes.
Okay, let's see what else.
Here, I got one. So, I mentioned this in the nerd chat, but I have in my possession right now a factory sealed copy of Malibu Beach Volleyball for Game Boy. Now, what makes this special is that this dude right here is Mr. Craig Moodhart. He was my freshman year geography teacher. My first class ever in high school. He was my teacher, and he was a volleyball guy. There's a car alarm going off in the background. But he was my volleyball teacher, and he told the story how he was at some competition, whatever, and he was playing a match, and he was approached by a photographer who had asked to use his likeness for a game, and he didn't think about it because, back then it was so new. He just said, yeah, sure, whatever, and then they didn't give him the actual cartridge, but they sent him the box. So that is my teacher right there. Now, what makes this important? Well, my youngling attends the same high school I went to, for which he's still a teacher there. So I'm going to try to get her and her friends to get Mr. Moodhart to sign my factory sealed copy of Malibu Beach Volleyball with his face, with him right there. And then because it is factory sealed, I'm going to have this thing sealed and graded. And I guarantee you, I'm going to be the only human in the world until somebody else hears what I'm doing and catches on with a signed copy of Malibu Beach Volleyball for Game Boy. Yes.
Oh,
it's
going to be pretty rare soon.
It's the perfect plan. Yeah.
All right. So let's see where we're. Okay. So oh yeah. Well, we'll talk about it in a bit. I don't want to give away the plot or the ending, although there's a lot to discuss. But episode 6, Secret Invasion, the series finale, is the lowest rated MCU project ever. It's got a 13% on Rotten Tomato, and I think it might have dropped since then.
Why? It's not woke.
I mean, I guess you could make that argument based on the ending, but I mean, I have my own gripes about the ending. I didn't hate it.
You can just talk about it openly. I'm sure it's fine. We were going to watch it later.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but anyway, so we got some upcoming live action movies based on Mattel toys in the works.
Of course.
I got a whole list. So Uno.
Okay.
I don't know what they're gonna do there. Like,
you know what we should do? So you know what we should do? I know we talked about doing Indiana Jones, but I don't think we really committed to it. Our next pitch, we should just pick a board game.
Okay.
And make a movie based off the board game. But we should pick randomly. We will create a list of 12, and we can roll to see what board game we get. That sounds fun. Let's do that.
All right. Barney, Wishbone.
Okay.
Matchbox, Hot Wheels.
Matchbox versus Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Going through loops and shit. Oh yeah.
Polly Pocket.
Dude, if you do Polly Pocket, where's my Mighty Max crossover? Damn it!
I knew you were gonna.
Shut up, Frosty.
This one, like, I mean, if I did this one, I would make it. I would just remake that movie with the epic fight in it. Oh God, with Keith David. What's that movie called?
Oh, They Live.
They Live.
Yep.
But yeah, Viewmaster.
Oh.
Just do it with a Viewmaster.
Okay.
American Girl.
Oh God!
I don't know what this
they just did that movie. It's called freaking Megan. We just saw it on Behold Nerds.
I don't know what this is, but Major Matt Mason, whatever that is. This one, yay! Good job. We should do this. Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah.
And the last one, I thought we already did this, but Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I mean,
Real Steel. Yeah.
Although I should point out, Real Steel is actually based on like an older thing. There was like a Real Steel movie like a long time ago or something.
Okay. It's one of those 80s stop motion.
Can't remember. But it's like well known. Like it got forgotten too. But like yeah, like I was describing the movie before it came out to someone. They're like, oh yeah, that was like I think it's like a sci-fi thing, like or maybe even like what's that, like, you know, the scary door, you know. Anyway, but yeah, so all those are going to be live action. They're thinking about making movies based on those. I mean, what the fuck, Uno, like reverse.
So
back to you.
I can see this being almost like a Saw, like a horror thriller kind of thing. So what was that game that you talked about with the 6 candles or whatever, and then you blow a candle? Play it sort of like that, kind of, sort of, or you can just play it like Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, years ago I had the idea of doing a Yu-Gi-Oh spin-off, but with Uno. Yeah, you could do it like that.
I don't know. The way I would handle it is I would make it. Do you remember that movie, The Wizard?
Yeah.
All right, so I would do it like there's an Uno tournament, but the story is about like
The
maybe
boy.
like a coming of age story of like a kid in the Uno tournament, or like that show that was out, that chess show. I mean, although it's hard to make Uno like I don't know, like you can't make it intellectual.
No.
So
Well, I mean, it's like the Gran Turismo game that just came out. It's not about the video game. It's about the kid who played the video game who became a pro driver. So maybe this person who's really good at Uno ended up being like a Rain Man type person, and
or
they could.
like do anything. That's how he bonds with his father. I don't know. I'm not good
Right.
at writing kind of scripts, but like
Or that you can do the flip of it, where they somehow turn this into like an ability to like count cards or something in Vegas, and they use their Uno powers in Vegas.
Uno powers.
Yes.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of stupid stuff. Like the Magic 8 Ball movie, like yeah, that would be like a horror. Right?
Yeah, I mean that'd be like the monkey's paw, dude. Like, yeah, keep them coming. What's the other one? Viewmaster. Viewmaster. Yeah, they live. Boom. Barney.
Anyway.
Yeah, Barney do Five Nights at Freddy's, bro. Just but as a day
I'll make
camp.
it a horror. Like, I don't know, man. Anyway,
I love you. That's the tagline. dot dot dot.
I do kind of like the Hot Wheels video game. I'm not sure how you'd make a movie where it's Hot Wheels though, like unless you treat it like it's fast. Because he's heard a rumor that Sam Raimi is developing Spider-Man 4.
Heard about this.
So, if you guys don't know him, he was Sandman in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. There have been rumors of Sony going back and revisiting these older Spider-Man franchises, and I'm kind of cool with it now. Yeah, fuck it, do it.
I mean, now that they've introduced the multiverse.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that because they set up so much stuff in even in the Amazing Spider-Man they just never got to use. So, like now that they've learned their lesson, I feel like they can go back and sort of smooth it out a little bit.
I rewatched The Amazing Spider-Man. I enjoyed it more upon rewatching it.
I think he was a better Peter Parker. He was definitely a better Spider-Man. It just Tobey Maguire was too wholesome, I guess, because Peter Parker's like a shit talker. He's quippy.
No. Peter Parker isn't. Peter Parker's a nerd.
No, you're right. But
Spider-Man, I don't think he was a good Peter Parker at all because he was cool.
Right. So that's what I mean. He was a better Spider-Man.
He was a better Spider-Man.
Yeah, better Spider-Man.
I think Tobey Maguire, he definitely held on to the nerd thing. Although it is hard watching those movies because like you're like that man's in high school.
Yeah.
You know?
Hi, Aunt May. How are you?
But I know that's like normal. But it was. I don't know. I think Tom Holland is my favorite of the live.
Tom Holland is my favorite of the live action Spider-Man, which.
Yeah, because he's a good Peter Parker and he's a good Spider-Man. Like he nails both sides of it.
He doesn't shut up. Spider-Man he's quippy. He's talky. He's just
like Deadpool.
He's Deadpool.
Inspired by him, but like they just took it to an extreme.
Right.
Anyway, last bit of news. This is comic book news. When I read this, I was like, this is so silly. There's a comic crossover coming out: Godzilla vs. Kong vs. Justice League. So I want to check it out.
I mean,
I like these crossovers.
This feels like something that they would handle on like a normal Tuesday. Like, the kaiju are attacking. Like, I feel like some of the main hitters can stay up at the watchtower watching soaps. Well.
No. Comic book Godzilla has thrown down with the Avengers. He stalemated Thor in a freaking strength test.
So if this is the last of the nerdy news, we should dive into. God, this is a perfect segue for Battle Nerds.
Okay, but I'm not done talking about this.
No, you're good. No, all right.
Yeah, I mean, Kong. Yeah, he needs to be amped.
Yeah.
But I'd never actually read comic book comics, so maybe I don't know that or not. But yeah, Godzilla kind of the comics is pretty tough. But no, it's like when they did oh god, what was
So
it?
what the
Hang
weird
on,
triple crossover that I liked was Predator versus no, I'm sorry, it was RoboCop versus Terminator versus Predator. I think it was one of
yeah,
those.
oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Or Freddy versus Jason versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Like and like yeah, they're fun. You're not meant to take them serious. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just fun comics. And I will say some of the crossovers are pretty good. Like I remember reading the Justice League versus Power Rangers crossover, and I was like,
That was great.
this is pretty good. Yeah,
Right.
like,
Well,
I like
even
it
the
when Superman shows up and grabs the Pink Ranger's Zoid or
Zord.
whatever it's called,
Yep. Just
and
stops
she's
in
like,
midair.
"Yeah," and he's like, "Ma'am, I need you to land the pterodactyl," and like. And they're all fighting Batman at the beginning, and Flash is like, "Well, maybe they don't know he's a good guy. We would think he's a bad guy."
Well, it's like the animated crossover with Batman versus the Ninja Turtles. That was fun. It's silly, but it's fun.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
It was fun.
yeah,
it,
it was better than it should have
right.
been.
It's better than it should have been. Um,
And I did enjoy because as soon as Batman showed up,
level the playing field, but I'm actually really excited for the Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out. I think
really,
we've never seen them portrayed as actual teenagers, and I like that we're seeing them as actual teenagers. I kind of like that. it's
yeah,
it's kind of the same reason.
everybody's mad at the way she had so many different looks across the years that it's like, who cares?
I don't care anymore. Just April should be a journalist. Period. She's some type of journalist. Period. Whether she's a young blogger or whatever.
Was she always a journalist?
Originally,
I
yeah.
don't know. I
I
can't
don't know, but
remember. I don't remember what she
journalist
originally
in a
was. But have you
yellow.
seen the original? Have you seen the original drawings of her though, like in the original comics?
I don't think I've seen her. Oh, Shredder and
Okay,
Splinter. But yeah.
she's got like dark skin. She's got like a big poofy hair, and she dresses completely different.
Like, oh hey, cowabunga, dude! Like, just I want to see actual teenagers. I want them to feel like teenagers, and from what I've seen, it feels like actual teenagers. I'm excited. Because again, the Ninja Turtles are. Leonardo is 16 years old. Hard stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Give me a second. I'm gonna try and bribe the cat with food.
that's what. Never negotiate with terrorists, Frosty.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do. That is not working.
Now,
Yeah,
who's going to end up siding
art,
with who to defeat who?
I don't know. I ended up seeing the some of the art though, and it's a pretty cool shot. It's like Godzilla in the distance, like, and he looks all fucking huge and scary, and like Superman just like flying towards him. I mean, yeah, I mean, like it depends. They have to amp him to comic book level because otherwise,
Right.
he's just gonna get his ass kicked. But yeah,
Right.
comic book level, Godzilla could probably hold his own.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, so that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I just wanted to really share this copy of factory sealed Malibu Beach volleyball that's soon to be signed and graded by, signed by Mr. Craig Moodhart right here. Good looking guy. Yeah, what shall we dive into?
Oh, you said you wanted to jump into Battle Nerds.
Yeah,
so
it's a good
that.
segue. So, Battle Nerds, let me grab my dice. This is where we pit random roll from a list of 100 combatants to see who we are going to put together in an epic showdown of the ages. Our last match put Godzilla versus Airbud in probably one of the most entertaining Battle Nerds we've ever had up till this point. People were voting up until last Wednesday because it was just, being around other nerds, I'd have to ask them so people would weigh in. What, Frosty?
I
What?
just I don't approve of votes coming in after
Oh,
after
we
the
were off
fact.
for a week,
I
Frosty.
know, but the Twitter poll ends then, and so so it's like unfair to those people. Um, but anyway, uh, okay, well, so yeah, Godzilla took on Air Bud. It was neck and neck basically the whole time, but by just one vote, Godzilla took it.
Was that the vote that I
Um,
told you about the other day? Is that the one you factored in?
oh no, I didn't factor it in.
Oh,
So I guess he won by two votes technically.
so
Um,
I
I had
asked
already written him down as a winner. So
I asked Sakura's friend during our Disney day because they were talking about nerd battles. Apparently, Hank Hill can defeat any opponent because he's friends canonically with Silver Surfer, which is true per that Fox Kids commercial. Um, I proposed, hey, Air Bud versus Godzilla, and he thought about it, and he said, well, Godzilla once punched the devil in the face, so definitely Air Bud. It's like, okay. Um, Air Bud is no more. Shame. That was a fun fight, though.
yeah. So last week we rolled up James Bond versus Han Solo.
Yes.
We technically I got Han Solo, you got James Bond, but I was like, we should probably switch because
You are the
that's like
Englishman, and I'm the Star Wars fan, so
well,
it's
no, I'm a Star Wars fan too, but your Han Solo is like your favorite fictional character.
I love Han Solo.
Although I will point out that I've never gotten Power Girl, and you've gotten her every
Like
time. You never
twice,
traded with me.
right? Well, you never ask for it next time. Next time, if I roll Power Girl again, she'll be yours.
I offered. I mean, but anyway. Okay, well, so this one's fairly even compared to most of them.
This
Well,
is a
maybe I don't know. I feel like I got the edge, but go ahead.
well.
Why do you want
So first off, we get to pick a version of the character. I'm going with Legacy Han Solo. That is my true Han Solo in my heart. Um, I'm going to actually age him up a little bit, so I'm going to have him in his older career. This is post Chewbacca dying on that moon, or when like the moon.
So you're
like,
going into the books.
yes, I'm going into Legacy, no longer canonical Han Solo.
Okay.
This is my true Han Solo.
All right. I mean, I'm basically going with amalgam because I mean, it's hard to say with like I've been reading up on Bond. It's like there's that theory that each Bond is like a different
A successor of
it's a code name or whatever.
right.
But that's actually been debunked. It's just different actors, so it's basically the same Bond in all the movies.
Okay.
Um,
They should
so,
treat. I don't know why they didn't do this. Treat. Because Bond movies generally do well. Treat Indiana Jones like they treat Bond. Just cast another Indiana Jones. There can be another Indiana Jones, just like there's always going to be another Bond.
well, anyway, so I'm basically going with that one. Maybe there might be a little bit of stuff from the books. I'm using a website that's like what are his abilities and all that to help me out.
Right.
I like Bond. I'm just not like my
familiar
dad
with-
would be better at arguing with him because he's like a huge Bond fan. But anyway,
Here,
yeah.
So I'll let you go first because I actually feel like I have the edge on this one. So
See, I don't feel like you do at all. All right, so let's start with my like what I'm good at. I don't know how. I mean, I guess I don't know what language they speak in Star Wars, so we might not be able to talk.
Arubish.
But I'm multilingual. I can speak every fucking language. I doubt I could speak Star Wars, but if anyone could, it would be Bond.
That's true.
I'm in peak human condition for my age. I'm a master martial artist. I'm a master at knife fighting. I'm a master marksman. I'm a master spy. I'm a master assassin. I have a gifted intellect. I'm a master tactician, master detective, master manipulator. I'm an expert in all vehicles. I'm also really good at gambling and card playing.
You know how I see this starting off is the two of them at a sabacc table, and something goes down, and then the two
why
of them
am I there? I don't know. But general gear I carry is an assortment of gadgets. It's hard to say what I'd have for that given situation since it changes all the time.
Right.
But gadgets that I would assume I'd have is the signature handgun, the PP9, and then I don't know, some kind of trick pen, maybe a trick cigarette.
Right.
Definitely got the laser watch in there.
You get that.
Like,
That's the coolest thing in Bond.
um, stun guns, explosives,
Yeah.
all sorts of crap. Um, and I'm just suave as fuck.
You are suave.
Like,
So,
men want to be me, and
uh,
women want to be with me.
oh, see, that is where the dashing Han Solo comes in. Because, my goodness gracious, my Han Solo of my childhood is the ultimate badass. This is the guy who, and the reason why I went with this version is because James Bond is formidable. Yes, he does have lots of gadgets and gears and whatnot, but dude, this is Han Solo. This is a guy who deals with assassins, Star Wars level assassins, like almost during every encounter. He has his famous DL-44 pistol, heavily modified. It's just massively powerful. Han Solo, and we got to see this in the original cut. Han Solo didn't shoot first. Han Solo just shot. There is no shooting first. Han Solo just shot Greedo. He is known throughout the galaxy as having the fastest quick draw of anybody. One of his most impressive feats is that he was confronted by three possessed Wookiees. He was able to quick draw, boom, 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 really quick. Wookiees are dead. Headshot the Wookiees, boom, 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 quick draw. Super badass. He's scrappy. He's a survivor, and that's why I like him, because he faces things unconventionally, and because of his just his luck, I guess, because it's all about luck with him. He just manages to get through. One of the coolest things that he's done with this version of Han Solo is he actually managed to survive weeks on like a barren moon, being hunted by Boba Fett and his syndicate, and still came out on top. So he's being hunted by Mandalorians who are everything that James Bond is, but with thermal vision and rockets. An entire guild of them, including Boba Fett, trying to go after Han Solo, and Han Solo manages to not only survive, but to pick all of them off. Han Solo is a fucking badass.
James Bond probably has thermal vision and rockets.
Well, right, but that's just
and jetpacks.
Yes. So here's what's essentially a suave Mandalorian. Cool. I've dealt with that before. Okay. It's just an average Tuesday for Han Solo.
No. You've just shat all over Bond. To think that he isn't again, he is a master at everything. He's Batman. I'm sorry. He's gone up against crazy villains with Jaws and fucking.
Okay, so Han Solo has a regenerating bug monster that goes after him. He survived.
Yeah, but you're saying
freeze.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying okay, so is Han Solo. I agree, but you're saying the Bond isn't at his level. Bullshit. And you're he's a fastest quick draw. So is Bond. And I mean, they're just at the bare minimum. And see, I would argue after reading everything I have up on Bond, he's faster, and he's a master of everything, and he's smarter. But if we have to at least agree they're even, because there's no way they're not.
So hand to hand,
I don't know what Solo's hand to hand.
So he is actually very skilled hand to hand, and that's something that they didn't really show off that much in the movies. But he was a part of a street gang syndicate where he learned sort of like street tactics, and then he went on to get taught by some martial artists. So he actually does have superior fighting tactic, though I'm not sure what exactly it's called. He's just a skilled martial artist. Well, but forced to hand, he has his gun. If he needs to, he will shoot first and then move in. That's Han Solo.
Well, I know, but they're both master marksmen. So you're saying he's a master marksman. So is Bond.
Right.
You're saying that he's got unmatched draw speed. So does Bond. So as far as I'm just throwing like comparing combat. Bond is a master martial artist. He's an expert in judo, aikido, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Filipino eskrima, karate, and krav maga. And he can kill a person with a single blow with his hand. Um, uh, because like he hits pressure
Yeah,
points
the
or
pressure
something.
point thing.
While he prefers to eliminate his targets with silenced guns and remain undetected, so he prefers to like fight from the shadows. I love sneaking around in that game. That was the first game where I was like, "Oh, you can play a game like this."
So,
Anyway, and then like I mean, the issue that I think that they come up against in this battle is it depends on which universe they're in because their universes are going to be insanely
different.
foreign to each other.
Also,
So
one other thing that I can, because I would love to see this battle sort of escalate. James Bond is very adept to combat vehicles. Just any vehicle you put him behind, you can figure it out.
yeah, but see what I'm saying? Like,
So,
that's
so
the
but so
issue
does
you
Han
run
Solo.
into.
Han Solo is the same way, where he's probably
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
the best
but that's what I'm
pilots.
saying. That's the issue. Like, you plop Han Solo in a car, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Right.
You pop James Bond in a starship, he's gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?" They can't even talk to each other. These are very alien universes,
Right.
even with Bond's multilingualism. Unless we give Bond to like, "Oh, here you go, 007.
Yeah.
We
Can
need you to
Q
go into
just come up with
space,
something?
and here's a translator."
Right.
And then so he steps through a portal, and now he's got a translator. It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far
I
away,
think.
and he's hanging out at the cantina or something. I don't
I
know.
think we can plot them in. They can each have similar skill to each other's universes. I see this as Han Solo has a hit out for him. James Bond goes in to try to be the one to take out Han Solo. That ends up at a sabac's table. I think that'd be cool. In some alien cantina. Han Solo probably senses what's going on, tries to get the drop on James Bond, but James Bond is obviously James Bond, and so he's able to avoid maybe that first shot. Probably do like a reverse special edition where he does that quick sleight of frame and Han Solo misses, and then the battle ensues.
I don't see it escalating. I see it ending quickly. Whoever you're arguing for, it's gonna be like whoever gets the first shot first,
Right.
whatever. Like, but I guess they do escalate in the movies.
Like, I would
Usually
love to
they
see
find
this escalate initially, then because each of them has enough different ways of surviving things. One is very unconventional. We'll use unconventional, like improvised explosives, whatever, just thinking on the fly. James Bond's a lot more poised and a lot more tactical. I'll give him that. So I would love to see this end up in like a motorcycle chase where Bond is on a motorcycle and Han Solo is on like one of the swoop speeders and they're zipping around somewhere, and then yeah, I'd watch the shit out of this. Anyways, why do
I guess a wrap. Like, what's your
what do I
final
think? Yes, James Bond is impressive, but this is Han Solo at his prime. He was able to survive weeks being hunted by not only Boba Fett but an entire guild of Mandalorians. Not only did he come out on top, he took out a bunch of them with him. He's just survivor, and he did it all by himself too. So this is post Chewbacca, so he didn't have his buddy. I see James Bond being formidable, but against somebody who can take out an entire Mandalorian syndicate, it just.
But, okay.
I see Han Solo getting the eventual win. Whether that be him having to go on the run and Bond has to try to hunt him down by some means, just I see Han Solo on top, or just in the quicker sense, as Han Solo just has a quicker draw.
I don't think he does, but
dude, he took out 3 Wookiees and just boom, 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 real quick.
Yeah, but I mean, like Bond's done stuff like that too. So
right.
So okay, but here's why I think Bond wins my fun argument. He's British Batman, and only he uses a gun, and he's insanely good with it. I mean, yeah, you're like, oh, I know they're different kind of universes, but Bond's taking on like ninja freaking leagues and all sorts of crazy shit,
Right.
and he's more like it's less monsters, but it's. I mean, although there are monsters depending on how you look at it, because they make interesting kind of characters.
Right.
I guess it's more grounded is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
But not really at the same time when you see how silly it gets and stuff like that. And that's the thing. I mean, like, if Bond had to kill 3 Wookiees, he would. I mean, and then he'd be like, dun, 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 like
but you know,
anyway,
it's not up to us; it's up to y'all. So I will post up a link on Facebook. Frosty will put up a link on Twitter. Feel free to reach out to us and let us know who you think.
Yeah, you can also post in the comments and however you want. But
God, Legacy Han Solo was such a badass. Just such a badass. Anyways, it is my favorite. My favorite time.
I know. Well, it is hard because it's you know, what do you call it? Yeah, you have that favoritism for the character.
And then Disney said no. But then I said, you know what? This universe exists. It still exists. I can still consume and purchase the media. So fuck you. This is my Star Wars in the multiverse. This is mine.
You got to roll under a 31.
I rolled an 18.
Okay. Oh, sad for you. And Gordon Freeman, first time fighting.
Yeah.
Has got to go up against Thanos.
Oh shit. You know what? Gordon Freeman did once punch his way through a multi-dimensional, like a parallel universe, just to.
Could Gordon Freeman survive on Apocalypse? Sure. I will give you that. He will get his crowbar out and start fucking shit up. But I mean, crowbar plonk against Thanos, you know. Anyway.
No Infinity Stones, damn it! No Infinity Stones. Research facility. Then they accidentally carve open a wormhole to Titan, and all of a sudden Thanos steps through. Oh yeah, I'd watch the shit out of that.
All right, well, yeah. So let's tune in for the Mad Titan versus
the Free Man
with the crowbar.
The Free Man.
The Free Man, yeah, that's what they call him. Next week.
Right. This is a guy who liberated an entire civilization of Vortigaunt.
This is a guy who destroyed half the universe.
To impress a chick that wasn't even into him.
All right, well, we got a lot of stuff that's come out, so let's talk some reviews. We got the new. Okay, well, I'll just list them. You can tell me when you want to talk.
Right.
I finally saw Flash. I finally saw Guardians 3. Harley Quinn. We got new episodes of that. We had a new episode of Futurama. We had a Adam and Eve special in leading up to Invincible, and then we had the Secret Invasion, which ended.
So I haven't seen Futurama or Secret Invasion yet. Haven't seen Flash yet because I thought it was on HBO. It isn't.
No, you can rent it.
Yes. So what is it? Yeah, because I'd seen it when it came out. So if you want to give me your thoughts on Guardians 3.
All right. Well, that was. I'll just be brief because it's old. But yep. Guardians 3 was good. I really liked it. So just shut up and take my money. I thought it was a great story. It was kind of somber. That hallway scene was phenomenal.
Badass, right? Oh my god, that was cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a great movie.
The moment I saw that hallway scene, I knew that that'd be your favorite part of the movie. One of them, when you would eventually see the movie.
Yeah,
it's also the first F-bomb in a Marvel movie. It's like
I know. I was like, yay,
progress. They're paving the way for Deadpool, baby. They're setting they're laying
No,
the
it
foundation.
was good. Yeah, it was also one of like it had a really high death count when you think about that movie. They killed an entire planet.
Yeah.
I
I'm surprised
mean,
none of the Guardians died. I thought for sure Rocket and Gamora were going to get axed. I'd heard rumor for a while now that James Gunn had been wanting to do Walrus um, in a Guardians movie, and from the original comics, because Rocket was from like Animal World or something. Walrus was one of his buddies, and it was just a walrus with like little collar with little robot arms. So we got to see sort of a version of that. So yeah, it was cool. I like the High
the
Evolutionary.
standout character in that movie for me was by far Nebula.
Yeah, Nebula was great. I also like the High Evolutionary. I thought he was a great villain. I liked how over the top he was in he chewed up every scene he was in. I loved it.
Mhm.
Anyway, so shut up and take my money. Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah, totally, yeah.
cool.
I really like the scene where Gamora is about to beat the shit out of Quill, and then Nebula stops it, and she's like, "I'm family." She goes, "So does he."
Yeah,
And yeah, no, it was just a really good movie. They nailed it.
yeah.
Well, let's briefly talk Secret Invasion. So the big thing is it
So
finale came out.
so from where I left off, Rhodey is a scroll, and Nick Fury's wife is also a scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot's happened since then.
Yeah.
So I've overall liked this series. I'm not sure why people aren't liking the ending. I know that they don't. I know why I don't like the ending.
Because it's woke.
Uh, the reason I don't like the ending is because it doesn't make any sense when I put any logic to it.
Okay.
Like the decisions some of the characters made.
Okay.
And so that's my issue. I think overall it was a good series. A lot of people were debating like, and this is kind of weird. Uh, Salim, the director,
Mm-hmm.
he thinks, and that's the word I'm like, what? You're the director. How do you not know that Rhodey has been a Skrull since Captain America: Civil War? But I don't know if that makes any sense either because he got hurt in that movie. So wouldn't they
Right.
have figured out he's a Skrull then?
Right.
Um,
Maybe
you know,
afterwards.
so
Maybe that's how he's able to make the recovery.
it would, yeah, like he got switched during
Right.
the surgery. I
Yeah.
guess you could do something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, so I didn't like the ending as well. But as a series, I thought the series was good.
Mm.
It's just the ending had some choices, and I was like, why would you do that? I already spoiled this part for you, but Gaia is now the most powerful MCU character.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, she gets the powers of every Avenger plus Captain Marvel, so everybody on the good guy side,
Oh.
all in her.
Oh. Good for her.
So yeah, so she surpasses Captain Marvel because she's got all of their powers. Um, Part of the thing I noticed the ending is also, that She-Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
they were all fighting at the end, and then she was like, "This is stupid. This is what we always do."
Right.
And then so they kind of mocked that ending.
Yeah.
They just kind of did that ending.
Oh. Okay.
But anyway, all right. Well, so did you see the latest episode of My Adventure with Superman?
Yes. Oh God, I love this show too much. It's so refreshing to see. Just
This episode has pissed off a lot of people.
so okay. I wish that they would have saved the big reveal for a little bit later on in the season. Like build up to it a little bit more.
Okay, well that's not why, but the reason everybody's mad is because Lois Lane got upset, and everybody's comparing her to Amber from Invincible,
Mm-hmm.
And then people are also comparing her to Tila. So none of these situations are the same.
Right.
Tila was upset because her friend didn't tell her he was He-Man, but also
Right.
she had her own secret. Her family were hiding the fact of who her mother was.
Right.
And so like she was basically made to feel like an idiot for a long time.
Right.
Then you have Amber, she's the one that's the most irrational in my opinion, because she was she got upset at Mark because he abandoned them,
Mm-hmm.
but then it turns out she knew that he was invincible, so she knows he didn't abandon them.
Mm-hmm.
And then so it was like her anger shifted to that. It made no sense. But my argument here is, yeah, you could. I think Lois is in the wrong because it makes sense why he would hide it from her.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, emotions aren't always rational.
Right.
And yeah, she's upset because the guy that she liked was keeping such a huge secret from her,
Right.
and her friend too. So, but anyway, as for the reveal, I kind of like that they're moving things along fast in this series. Like yeah, there was no oh will they won't they with Lois Lane and Clark. They were instantly attracted to each other.
Right.
I like the fact that she already knows, she already figured it out. They're just like yep, yep, yep.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the fact in this series that like they point out like look how jacked Clark Kent is, you know,
Right.
like because that often gets overlooked. He's this
Huge dude.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no, I agree. I really like the show. It didn't piss me off that she got upset. I've even seen people like Lore Reloaded. He called it toxic.
Wow.
So because of that, people think that Lois is very much in the wrong here. But yeah, and then people are also mocking how she jumped off the building. They're like, "Oh my god, she's a drama queen." Lois Lane is just pissing people off.
But it's a
What's
younger Lois. Like, scale it down, guys. It is younger everybody, so I'm okay with her being irrational because she hasn't grown into her Lois Lane shoes yet. Like we're seeing it from the bottom.
Yeah, another thing people are not happy with is like all the villains are these tech-based villains based on like, and it looks like they're using Kryptonian, and then
right. But oh my god, one of the coolest things was holy shit, there's Waller.
Yeah,
like that was cool. Like oh shit, and then we see Deathstroke, and it's a different Deathstroke, but I like this younger Deathstroke. Like it is them growing into their superhero shoes. I'm okay with seeing it from this.
I'm okay that they're doing a story arc about tech and Kryptonian tech, and it's what's making the villains and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, at some point you'd have to change it up, but I mean, for a story arc, it works.
Right.
And
plus,
I do really enjoy the characters.
It's
I really
about
like Lois.
It's about discovery. It's about who is, here's Clark Kent, but who is the Superman, and these people have this stuff that he's unaware of, so it's interesting. I like it. Like it's familiar to him, but he's unaware of what it is. But they're using it against him.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I like that.
I don't know. I really like the Superman character, though. I think he's or Clark Kent in this. He feels nice. He feels like like
right.
when Lois is like, "What would you do if you had those powers?" He's like, "I'd help people."
Right.
And she goes, "You probably would."
Mm-hmm.
And everyone recognizes what a good dude he is, and I don't know. I just enjoy it. It's a nice show. It's refreshing. It's also family friendly, but still entertaining for adults. I mean, I don't know. I really enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to the Batman one as well.
I want the Batman one to be 180 of this. I want it to be like the antithesis of this, where it's just dour and dark and just I like.
Yeah, but I want it to still feel like it can fit together.
Right. Exactly. Like they should be two sides of the same coin. That's sort of what Batman and Superman are. They're two sides of the same coin. Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't know. I could go for a lighter Batman too. I mean, we've had dark Batman a lot lately. It would be nice to have a kind of just like, this is fucking cool. I'm Batman, But yeah, so it just doesn't take my money from me. I really enjoy the show. The question I posted to a lot of people is so my timeline is full of people saying like this show sucks, I hate this show, and then like 5 episodes in they're like, I hate this show sucks. So my question I postulated to everybody is like, why are you still watching it then? Like I mean, I once had to sit down and watch The Bachelor. I'm never watching that show again.
Like
I mean, if you're into it, great. But I mean,
people are just hate watching has become a thing, Frosty.
I know. I just don't
It's,
understand it. I don't. If someone can explain it to me how it's fun, like
they're watching it so you don't have to. They're the real heroes, Frosty.
okay. Um. Anyway, I saw the Flash. You haven't seen the Flash yet.
No, I want to see it when it was on HBO. I'll watch it. Or I'm sorry,
Why are you waiting until then?
because I'm on a budget.
Okay. I mean, I might. I don't know. It's really good. Um, like it's totally worth spending the money on, dude. It's in my opinion, anyway. Okay, so brief. The CGI not great. Like especially when he's in the Speed Force, but was it bad enough that I was like, this movie's terrible. It's over for me. No. It's got some of my favorite Batman scenes of
Okay.
anything live action. There's this chase on the bridge and Batflick is like, I mean, it's just so cool. And there's some, and then the Bat Keaton scenes are great.
Mm.
And oh man, there's so many cameos. I mean, the one I'm going to spoil, sorry, it was my favorite one. Was it's showing all the different Superman and Batmans from around like the universe, and they see what's his name, God, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Nick Cage. So I knew about this. Mrs.
Yeah,
Cap decided to spoil this one months ago.
it was so cool, and he was fighting a big fucking spider. Kevin Smith was right. Like, it was great. He looked pretty cool, actually.
I was actually watching a documentary on the like the making of that and how it eventually became scrapped. It just became too expensive for the studio.
Just listen to Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard his talk about that movie, it's great and it's so funny. And then he's talking about how the director was like, yeah, a big fucking spider, you know. And then the same guy did that movie.
Eight-legged freaks. God.
No, the one with the Wild Wild West.
Oh, Wild Wild West.
And Kevin Smith was like, and I was sitting in the theater, and then holy shit, it's a big fucking spider. Like, I wish I could have seen Flash with Kevin Smith, just so I could lean over and be like, dude, big fucking spider.
But anyway, so it was good.
Yeah, I loved it. Now, my complaints are the CGI.
Did Christian Bale come back?
Probably. I don't remember that cameo. But there was a tons, dude. They had like George Reeves Superman, like, you know, the black and white guy.
Nice.
They had all sorts of them. It's because like all the worlds are slamming together, and then so they see them. But anyway, the only thing I didn't like about it was, like I said, some of the CGI was, and then the ending I thought was weak because it didn't make any sense. Like, the whole point of the movie was to learn a lesson, and then he just didn't learn it. And so yeah, fucking George Clooney's in it.
That's awesome. You have to bring in George Clooney with the bat nipples.
Anyway, so yeah, I liked it. You should totally rent it. I mean, I wouldn't wait till it's out. I would at the very minimum rent it when it's $6 because it's worth it. I paid $20 and I still think it was worth it. Anyway, so well, my argument is that's still cheaper than going to the theater, you know?
Yeah.
So okay, Harley Quinn, we just got notice of that. Did you see that yet?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how many episodes are out, but I did see episode 1.
Okay. Well, and then also, I don't know how I missed it, but they did a Valentine's special, which came out back in Valentine's, but I don't know, it just flew under the radar, and I thought that was really good.
I don't think.
And then,
did I watch that one? I don't remember if we watched that or not.
Well, we did not. I had no idea it even existed, but yeah, there was a Valentine's special, and that's the one I was talking about, where Darkseid's like, he's like, they keep showing couples, like it starts and they're showing like Lois and Superman, and like, oh yeah, we met doing this. And then like they keep getting crazier, and like, yeah, there's one where it's like Darkseid, and he's like, I was giving keynotes at the Republican National Convention, and like, I don't know who she's supposed to be. Like, I get that she's a Republican, but is she a politician? I don't know. But he's talking about how evil she is and stuff, and like,
Was it Marjorie Taylor Greene or one of those people? Probably.
no, it wasn't her. It almost looked like Ivanka, but like, I don't know. Like, it was so funny. I snorted soda when I. So you haven't seen the.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh yeah, it's worth watching. It was so funny. It's longer too.
Mm.
Like, yeah, Poison Ivy ends up like birthing, like she has the ultimate orgasm.
Oh, you know what? Did see this? Yes.
Where Bane goes around humping
Humping.
buildings.
I God, so much has happened between then and now.
That was great. But anyway, so we had episode 1 drop, and then I think there's been a couple other, like 2 more episodes since. Episode 1 was good though. I mean, it was a nice return to the show.
So good.
They're still exploring their relationships and stuff like that, but it's done hilariously. I mean, Harley's beating the shit out of like people trying to get into
the Fortress
Legion of Doom.
Right, to bring lunch, and then Ivy wants to stage a crime so that Harley can come and rescue her.
Yeah.
Like, that's perfect.
Was this the episode with Nightwing's ass? I think it was.
With Professor Pig or Dr.
People
Pig.
are online are like, "Oh, that's horrible! I can't believe they would do this." And it's like, Nightwing's ass has been a running joke in comics since forever.
Right.
I mean, like, it is great. Well, one thing I noticed I thought was funny is just how many people like are dead in the Batman mythos. Like when Harley's scrolling through her phone,
Right. Scarecrow's
killed
gone.
everybody in this show.
Friggin' Pig is gone now.
Like, but you see all the people. She's like dead. Like, like,
but it's such a great show.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
So, what was my favorite? I love the betrayal of the Bat family. I love it. So you have Nightwing, and he's just, they're sort of like reverse parodies of themselves, because Nightwing is, oh, I'm so stoic and so brooding. We gotta work out. Like it.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah, there is another episode because they hint at Talia at the end.
Yeah.
And then she shows up in the next episode. It's so funny because she's like, "Oh, I'm here to see my son. Now, where is he?" And then like Damien sat right there. He's like, "I'm right here, mother." He's like, "Oh, okay."
I like goes for visitations. Like, man, I missed a dead body for this.
Yeah, that's right. He really wanted
just
to
want to see a dead body, and then he finally sees one. He's like, "Cool."
Yeah, and then is this the one where they showed like, because like it was either this episode or the next one, Harley's like learning why she can't kill, and then she's like, "Well, you guys never told me that," and then like
they point to everything.
Yeah, around the back gate, like.
None of the computer says, "Do not kill." A little Batman peeks up, a little gif of Batman, just throw pillows. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? The it's done in a silly kind of way, but the animation and action is still pretty good. Harley spinning around, Poison Ivy using all her shit.
Right.
And I love the voice actors. All the voice actors knocking out of the park. I mean,
voice actors are great.
Haley Kukau or whatever her name is, she's perfect. And then, oh god, what's her name? Lake Bell from Ivy. I mean, I just love her. So yeah,
this is probably one of my favorite versions of Batgirl. I don't know why. I just really like this version of Batgirl. But I guess she's sort of supposed to stand out against the normal Bat family, anyways, because they're portraying the Bat family as being we're perfect. We're gonna work out, and she's a little bit more accepted.
It's also interesting that they've made it so Gotham isn't sure they can handle them.
Right.
Was this the one where they go try and visit Bruce?
Yeah, and he has a new butler.
Yeah, the butler, and Alfred's my favorite character.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he goes up against Bruce's because he's in Blackgate, but he's rich, so it's like a side of Blackgate we've never seen before.
Right.
Exclusively for wealthy people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. I just love it. This is what I say. The show, it celebrates and makes fun of everything that is Batman, and it does it in the best way. Like it reminds me.
It's made with love. You can feel it.
Yeah. And the stories are fun and interesting, and like there's like genuine heart to Ivy and Harley Quinn's relationships.
Oh
Although
yeah,
I do feel bad for my guy Kite Man. I was so bummed when they broke up because I liked Kite Man.
yeah, poor guy. But I mean, I like Harley and Ivy as a couple. They play off each other and they both accept each other, even though they're very different. Like it's
Yeah, yeah, and I mean I think it's interesting because they are different, and it's a show. Cause like the problem is like when they do like a show about a relationship, it's like always very will they won't they, and then they break up. This is no, they're a couple and they're
they're learning,
experiencing what a couple is.
right?
Because yeah, there's challenges that they have. I mean, now they've got these different jobs, and they put them in direct opposition to each other. So they're like, oh, well, we can't when we're together, we can't have that reflected.
Right.
Harley in this series, clearly she's learning what it's like to be a hero and how that ostracizes her from the villains,
Mm-hmm.
and that we're her friends. Like again, I don't know where you're at in it, but like Clayface, for example, he's basically ditched them.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? King Shark. He's got a wife now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I like all that stuff. So it's a clever show, but it's hilarious. So
Right.
if you don't like it, I'm not sure I understand why. It's a total just show to take my money. Can't wait for more
Oh
episodes.
yeah, can't wait. Um, probably gonna. We watched the first episode. We're probably gonna watch the. Sorry, my glasses broke. Definitely gonna try to watch the remaining 2 episodes. I think there's 3 episodes out right now
Of what?
of
Harley
Harley
Quinn?
Quinn.
Maybe I don't remember
Yeah, I don't know,
the
but
number.
we're gonna try to catch up on that today.
New Futurama dropped. I only saw the first one, but it feels like Futurama. Hey, they're back.
Yeah, I heard.
Still
I
really,
heard it was very funny. I just haven't seen it yet.
yeah, it's great. It's shut up, take my money. I'll leave it at that. They kind of take the characters in a new direction, but it's still good.
Okay.
And yeah, but at the same time, it feels like a return. If you love Futurama, yeah, I have no reason why could see why you wouldn't enjoy it.
Okay.
So then we also had Adam Eve, which was a fun little surprise for me. I was at dialysis. I put on Prime, and I was like, "What's this?" And then yeah, so it was like an hour-long special about Adam Eve and her origin as a kind of lead up to Invincible season 2.
Right.
What did you think?
I loved it. This was an unexpected surprise. I guess it's a obvious prequel. We follow what's her name, Samantha, from birth to
Samantha Eve, whatever. Yeah.
But I liked it. Mentioned this earlier. The final fight had kind of an Akira vibe to it, just with the look and feel of the people that she was fighting. But
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, just
I didn't think that at the time. I was thinking more like they reminded me of like Clayface kind of things.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you're right. We follow Adam Eve from birth. Her background, she was created by the government. They were trying to make like the ultimate
super weapon.
Yeah, super weapon basically, and her ability is she can change atoms at will. The doctor decided that he was going to put a block in her though to prevent her from doing it directly on people or animals.
Right.
And then it's one of those stories where like, oh no, I gotta save her, so he gets her out of the facility, and then she lives a normal life until her powers come into be, and then they find her again. So it was an interesting origin story. Did I like it as much as the show Invincible? No, but
It was still good.
it was still good. I was entertained through the whole thing. Some awesome action sequences, especially the end when Eve goes up against like her siblings. And it's a brutal fight scene. People really are dying. Like, yeah, it's everything you'd expect from Invincible. And yeah, it was cool. She was a badass throughout it. It had that very much Invincible tragedy element to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's total just should take my money. Give me other origin stories.
Just the one line that one of them says at the end, they haven't been out of their tubes long enough to learn how to talk. Like, ooh, I felt that one. That was a
Yeah,
zinger.
you do feel bad for her brothers, and at the same time, they're actively trying to murder
Yeah.
her.
So you
And
know what?
then
This actually had moreover Final Fantasy VII vibes, where you had the mother, and that would in my head that was almost like Genova from Final Fantasy VII, and from Genova came the soldier program. That's where Sephiroth and Cloud came from. So it
yeah, the
kind of had
sad part for me was when she's like, "You killed my entire family,"
yeah.
and then she makes the family portrait.
Mm.
And then it's also sad because her home actual family is bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
had she gotten better foster parents, like but they were like they were upset because she has these abilities and things like that.
Mm.
And then yeah, it was a sad story. There was like very little joy in this story.
No,
Um,
but that's invincible though.
True, Invincible has yes, but at the same time, it feels like real life in a
Mm-hmm.
way that is fictional.
Okay.
I mean, like okay, so you picked up where remember when his dad is basically punching him to death,
Right.
and he says, "Where will you be in 500 years?"
Mm-hmm.
But his life's pretty sweet in 500 years. So I mean, like Invincible is dark and it has that, but it does have hope.
Right.
This felt, I guess maybe that's why I didn't like it as much as the show. This lacked the hope. Although we know where Eve ends up, so
Mm.
yeah. I don't know. It was great though. I really enjoyed it. It was sad.
Yeah. But still fantastic. Shut up and take my money if you haven't watched it yet. Please watch it. I'm excited for the next season of Invincible. I think coming out either September. It's coming out soon. I want to say September.
Very soon, yeah. I can't wait for it. Yeah, it's my favorite, probably my favorite show at the moment.
Like,
I really enjoyed Invincible season one.
mm.
Anywho, yeah, just shouldn't take my money for me. What did you guys think? Let us know. So we should probably do Behold Nerds.
Yes. Yes.
Behold
Yes. Yes.
Nerds is our basically our book club. We take turns picking movies, TV shows, whatever, and we suggest you guys watch it, and then we watch it in the week leading up, and then we discuss on the show. Okay, so I picked All Star Superman. Cap has never read All Star Superman,
No.
so then they came out with an animated movie. Now, as someone that's never read the book, I'm interested to know what the movie was like for you.
Okay.
So yeah, that was my pick as the animated movie All Star Superman. So, Kat, what did you think?
So this did, even though I hadn't read the comic, I've watched a lot of DC animated movies based off comic or comic adapt or movie animated adaptations of comic book stories from the mythos. So even though I haven't read All Star Superman, it felt like it was one of those things where here's this giant stack of novel. We're going to strip out a lot of it and then condense it into an hour and a half. So there are a lot of characters, and that's usually what happens. There's it just feels stuffed. However, despite it feeling bloated, I really did like this portrayal of Superman. It felt like Superman. It was Superman. God, what was it? Here's Perry's office. If Clark Kent isn't here in 5 seconds, he's fired. Five,
And he
four, and
goes,
he's in.
Caesar's ghost,
Right,
which is the line that I was like, yay.
right. So, and then all of a sudden, here's Superman. Hi, here I am. Like it felt like Superman. Damn it. I also like Jimmy in this movie. Like, why was he wearing a dress? I don't know. It's Jimmy. I like that. The other reporter, what's his name? Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Steve is my favorite reporter. I liked his because it's two different tellings of the same character. So from All Star Superman, here's Steve, and he's just one of the reporters, and he's got his bravado. He's just very boisterous, outspoken. And then you have in My Adventures of Superman. Here's the same character, and he's like the sports guy, and he's got this like cryptid YouTube channel. It's fun. So that's it. It did feel bloated, and it felt like a lot wasn't fleshed out. But I did like the portrayal of Superman. I definitely did like Lex Luthor in this. Wasn't sure how his plot sort of came together, I guess, but well, essentially the plot. Lex Luthor oversaturates Superman's cells with radiation, causing him to essentially die. Right? Is that the gist of it?
Yeah.
Superman creates a serum that gives somebody his power for 24 hours minus the adverse effects, and he gives that to Lois Lane as like her birthday present. But I was confused as to how Lex Luthor knew about this and how he was able to acquire it at the end.
Because he,
I feel like a lot was missing.
No. It is explained because Robot 7 he managed to hack into.
Right. So how did you know about Robot 7 though? Like that's
because he said his fortress isn't as
impenetrable. Yeah. To be. Okay.
So he's been monitoring that fortress. And then, he hacks into Robot 7, figures it out, gets Robot 7 to make one for him. And then Superman's aware of it. Superman beats Luthor by changing his mind. And he uses the serum to do that. So it's, and then the gravity gun as well.
Right.
Yeah, so, no, it's all explained. It's in there. What's missing from here's the thing. All-Star Superman, Grant Morrison, is a masterpiece. He took all of the kind of versions of Superman, condensed them into one. The only thing I don't like is I think Superman needs an ankle length cape.
Yes,
it looks weird when it's at the half cast.
Agreed. I noticed that.
But anyway, the comic has that same look though. But anyway, so he took all the Superman, he pushed it together, and then he made a story about Superman in the final stages of his life, and he accomplishes 12 tasks. They show a few of them in this movie, like the Ultra Sphinx thing and some of the others. But taking Kandor back. One of the things he does is but in the comic is much more stoic, I guess.
Okay.
It's more of like an introspective of Superman as he's going through these things. Like he creates life in the comic.
I like his pet.
That's one of them. He creates life in the comic, though. He also cures disease because he uses the doctors of Kandor as like miniature things, and they're going to go around like curing people. He goes to the cancer ward, and they have fly into their body because they're microscopic,
right? And
they kill the cancer cells and stuff. So it's and they have the powers of Superman, but they're microscopic. So it's a very kind of like stoic, kind of like thought-provoking comic. It doesn't really translate, but the general story is still there.
Okay.
And a lot of the lines are taken directly from the comic. Like they're basically repeating stuff word for word. But it's just you've got it right. They took out like I would say half, if not more, because this is a comic that went on for like 5 years or something.
Right.
So but it's still got the thing. It's Superman. He's about to die. What is he going to do with his life? And then the big thing that they focused on in this movie is him changing Luthor, which I feel like is a very Superman way to handle things.
Right. Because it's not about this.
Yeah.
Right.
There was that in the movie because Luthor's feeding him and stuff. But
it shouldn't come down to that. It should be something greater that is Superman.
It does feel disjointed in this movie because it's like you go like, oh, this part happens, and now there's new Kryptonians, and that's resolved, and this happens, and this happens. But those are supposed to be the feats he's taking on. I did enjoy him, the bit with Samson and Atlas,
Yeah, that was fun.
and
And then them
like,
just
yeah,
hitting on Lois.
double arm wrestle.
He just that was great. Oh, have you guys started?
Yeah.
uh,
But yeah, so overall, it was okay. So here's my opinion. Well, I was interested to know what you thought because, again, having read the book, it feels like a not good version of the book. You know what I mean?
it
Like,
feels like that. The same
um,
way like Injustice feels like the animated feels like a inferior version of the comic. Like I can watch these without reading the comic and just sort of apply that filter. And I can see where things had to be sort of stripped out. I had that filter on, and I had that
well,
when I was
I
watching this movie.
do highly, highly, highly recommend anybody that watched this go read the comic because it is probably the best Superman like comic in my opinion. Other
Mm,
than I didn't like his cape, but it is one of Morrison's masterpieces. He's an amazing writer.
mm.
And yeah, I'm not sure how you would adapt this story. I think they did the best they could. I mean, I guess maybe it would do better as a series, maybe.
So
But
the one dumb thing that bothered me about this was a red sun is cooler than a yellow sun. Damn it! That's it. Because they mentioned, oh, the red sun's so much hotter than our sun, and like it was at the end. It's just a little throwaway comic. My that tickles my science brain. I was like, wait a minute, no, that don't make no sense. So that's it. That's my complaint.
I think it was Solaris that was making it hotter
Was it?
because he was the one that turned it red.
Right, but they said that the red is hotter. No, it's the.
No, I know that, but I mean, I think we have to factor in Solaris into
All
that
right,
equation.
fine.
And then he
I
turns
feel
it
like he just
blue.
sort of came out of nowhere too. Like,
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it works in the comic. Like,
I know, I know. Again, this is where you apply that filter. I feel like there's a lot of context missing because it's sort of, I'm gonna go fly back and do a thing. I will be back. If I do come back, and all of a sudden he comes back and Metropolis looks like it's completely different.
see, that's what happens. Like that is exactly what happens in the comic. I mean, he flies away and then he comes
But right,
back.
but then Perry and everybody were still behaving the same.
Well, they didn't have a choice. It was just Metropolis was taken over. What do we do?
Uh,
It would be like imagine you were like a town in England and like the Romans show up and now we rule. Well, you still got to go to work the next day. It's just now you're paying taxes to the Romans.
Fair enough. Just again, there's a lot that I'm sure was missing, but either way, as far as the portrayal of Superman, loved it. Um, Probably one of my favorite versions of Jimmy Olsen. I loved it. I loved how he had his watch, like because he's always had that watch, and I haven't seen that watch in a while. I love that he had the page Superman button. Um, yeah, I like how he was in his Fortress of Solitude restoring the Titanic. Like
Mm.
that was cool. I like that he has a big coin just like Bruce. Um, yeah, I thought it was good. It felt choppy, but that's the filter that you have to apply when you're watching these when they're taking from such a dense
It's
thing.
yeah, like I said, what it's missing though is, like I said, it's a very somber story. I guess it still is, but I don't know. The comic is more epic in scope. Like it starts with him like sitting there and he's like burning his last will and testament. They do it in the movie, but
Right.
I don't know. I just did when he's like, yeah, I've got the 12 tasks ahead of me. Kind of, it felt like almost Greek
Yeah,
mythology, and
yeah,
and he's like, I've created life because he tries to, he starts thinking about what happens in a world without Superman, and so he creates a world without Superman in a distant Earth on a different world,
yeah. Right.
and it's a very sci-fi story,
Mm,
and I'm not sure it comes across that way in the movie. Um,
tiny bit.
but anyway,
But it
how
is
would
a
I rate this?
it is a shut up and take my money. I do even though it's choppy. I did just for the depiction of Superman in Clark Kent. I is spot on. This is Superman. Um,
I guess it's just shut up and take my money from me too. I think it would have done better as a series where you could have treated each
Each feat is
kind of
its
be a
own.
task
Yeah.
as its own story, and yeah, just have it like do it that way. Like have it like more long run. It needed more time.
Right.
I did like that a lot of it was verbatim, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it needed longer on the kettle. You needed to simmer.
Right. Um,
Anyway, so well, let us know what you guys thought. Was it shut up taking money? Was it you got to do what you got to do, or did you think it was death by snoo snoo? All opinions are welcome, and try not to hate each other for them.
right.
What's your pick for the next ball?
So, I had mentioned this that a couple weeks ago, the family and I went to the Elixir Lounge, where we are now exclusive members with this gold coin. And while we were standing in line, kept seeing this movie poster just kind of everywhere. And when we finally made it inside the establishment, the owner was walking around and doing fun little bubble tricks for everybody. And I asked him about it. And he said, "Oh, well, that's the movie that I wrote and directed. It's on Netflix." And I said, "Cool, that seems like the perfect thing for this thing I call Behold Nerds." So this week my choice is called The Prey. Danny Trejo's in it. I believe it is on Netflix, but let me double check really quick. It is on one of those free platforms.
Well, they're not free, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, sorry, The Prey. 2022 film. No, that's not it. Prey. It's on Netflix. Hold on. Hensman Brothers. Look it up. Here we go. The Prey. Anyways, I'm gonna
Is
find
it the
it.
Prey Legend of Carno
Nope.
Carnocatus? No,
No.
not that. It says
No.
it's an action movie starring Danny Trejo.
Anyways, this one we'll find it. It is that one.
Okay.
Anyways, we'll find it. I believe he said it was on Netflix. That's the pick. This is the guy that opened up his own
So,
magical themed elixir bar, tea bar.
all right.
Anyways, we'll find it and post it on all the the Prey
I
movie.
think that is the one I'm saying.
I think it is. It's just not featured on the movie title by.
Yeah, it's the Prey Legend of Carnocatus.
Okay.
That's the full name of the movie.
Okay. 3.6 out of 10 should be great.
It says you can find it on Tubi, Prime Video, Vudu, Apple TV, or Roku.
Okay.
So, all right, we will be watching The Prey, Legend of Carnocatus, with Danny Trejo. So that'll be interesting.
It's the perfect Behold Nerds.
All right. Well, we got some time left, so we can go through some rants.
Okay.
This is go for it.
All right. So can we just take a moment to address the Barbie movie, because people are asking me again the same thing that people kept asking me about Bud Light when all that nonsense was happening. People are asking me about the Barbie movie.
I know nothing about the Barbie movie other than I've heard it's pretty funny and good.
Yeah, so
it's for adults more than kids.
So I had no desire to see this movie because it's Barbie. It's just not a Barbie fan. Doesn't mean I'm in any way like misogyny.
I used to steal my sister's Barbies, and she would go on a date with my Brave Star.
That's awesome. see,
yeah.
see,
well, we needed a pick, like...
But you know, my cousins played with Barbie because I had two. My two cousins. They're ladies. They had Barbies. I was always indifferent to Barbies. I never had any feeling of it. It just wasn't my toy.
Well, my figure was about the same size as the Barbies that were pretty big.
Yeah,
And so, like, yeah, it worked out. Like, I had some vehicle that he would go in, and then she would ride around as this chick.
that's awesome.
And like, and I used to think to myself, like, Brave Star's way cooler than Ken. I think that's part of the plot of the movie, though. Like,
Right. So when I saw the trailers for this movie, it didn't look awful. I thought it looked interesting, but I didn't have any desire to see it. I was just indifferent to it. I didn't care. Then I started to hear stuff about it, and I thought, if I were to make a Barbie movie, this is what I would do. And it sounds like some of what I would do conceptually as a Barbie movie is what they actually did in the movie. So that got me intrigued. And of course, there's people saying it's woke, it's this and that, and da 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 da. It's blah 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 blah. It's fucking Barbie. Barbie is supposed to be the thing that every girl can project themselves onto. That's why Barbie can do everything. Just yes, it's a feminist icon. Yes, but
I don't pay any attention. As soon as someone says woke, I shut my brain off.
right, I know.
I decided to do that. Like, that's how I deal with it now.
I know, and it's fun to do it on camera because I see your brain just sort of detaching briefly, just watching it pass by. But anyways, I know Mrs. Cat doesn't want to see it, but my youngling does. I kind of want to see it, so maybe.
I mean, I would see it. If I wouldn't go to like the theater myself to go see it, but if we were hanging out and you were like, "Hey, you want to go watch Barbie?" All right, why not?
But at the same time, though, I hear it's poignant with its messaging. It isn't Schindler's List, so this isn't one of those things where if somebody chooses to not see it, doesn't mean that they're like anti anything. They just don't want to see a Barbie movie.
I mean, I don't not want to see it.
Well, I know. I'm not saying you, but for because this is actually a conversation that I had with a guest yesterday where they just simply weren't interested in seeing the movie, and they had people in their orbit that were giving them shit about it, pretty much saying, "Oh, well, this is, it's so important with its messaging and blah 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 blah."
There's a YouTuber I follow, and he was talking about. He was like, "Look, I'm a feminist. I saw Wonder Woman. It was okay." I just love that. But yeah, no, it. I don't know. It looks fine. I'm interested to know more about it, and specifically, I heard like Ken is hilarious, and
Right.
I look if it comes out for streaming, at a like on H. This is like Flash. I'm happy spending money on. This I'm happy watching, but I'm gonna wait till it comes out on a platform that I have.
Right.
So yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, and I don't know. The youngling wants to see it. I'm going to try to squeeze it in before she goes back to school, but I'm interested in it. It seems.
What I don't get is I know they released at the same time, but why do people keep talking about Barbieheimer? It's like what's the connection other than they came
so
out at the same time?
the connection is people returning to the theaters. Well, what's going to make people return to the theaters? Barbieheimer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more of that. It's no Mission Impossible 10, Fast Furious something, Indiana Jones, blah. It's fucking up and Barbie, yo. That's what that's what the fans want to see. That is what the moviegoers want to return to the movies for, Frosty. 3-hour Nolan film or 2-hour Pink Nightmare? Choose your poison. Both are unique in their own way.
I don't want to go see either of those,
though. Then you are misogynist, Frosty. You are.
I'm pretty sure I'm not. I mean, other than that amount that everybody is because of bias and all that crap. But
right.
Anywho, well, okay. So, a question for you. This is just something that I posted on Twitter, and this guy was like, I saw a post, I responded. And it's something I always correct people on. But okay, when you're watching a movie like I don't know any knight movie or that, and they have that sword and it's got a pommel, usually a big round pommel, one-handed, and it's their side sword. What do you call that?
side sword, secondary item, weapon.
Oftentimes, it's like they'll pull that out and use it with a shield. Like, so maybe it's their main weapon in
Yeah,
the movie.
yeah, just mean yeah.
Well, what would that sword be called? Like, some sorts of katanas. What would that one be called?
Oh, I see what you're asking. So I mean, normally it's like a samurai sword, a
No, no,
katana.
no. I mean knights.
Oh, when knights do it. Oh, is that
The
just your?
main sword you
Is,
see a knight.
isn't
You know,
that?
it's
Yeah, yeah,
one hand.
yeah, yeah. Isn't that just a broadsword?
No. Okay, so
I,
this is what my point. Like, most people call that a long sword.
okay.
And someone posted on Twitter like, "Oh, look, here's my long sword," and I was like, no, that's an arming sword. Those are arming swords, just so everybody knows.
Okay.
Just want to put it out, because everybody who watches her show is very attractive, very chill, and good at sex. Now you also know this: when someone goes long sword, that's an arming sword. A long sword is more like my sword back there. That's technically a claymore, sort of, but they're
So
about
you
that size.
you would pull that from your back, not your side.
Yeah, well, so no, you back. Nobody carries swords on their back because you can't. There's no way to do that.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember as a kid, you do that and you'd be like,
Right.
a lot of time they show that in movies where they're like, "Let's go, shink," and then it cuts, and then they're like holding it now like this. But yeah, no, long swords are two-handed. They're pretty big, and then great swords are fuck off huge.
Right.
So yeah, but that's the difference. Those are arming swords. Interestingly enough, broadswords are actually what you would probably call a fencing sword. Like, it's really weird. And claymores aren't actually claymores like that, although people call that a Scottish claymore.
Mm.
The claymore is also more like a fencing sword. It's got a big basket and everything.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people get, and like when people talk about Viking swords,
Mm.
that's also not correct, because like the best you could say Viking era sword, but like not everybody would. It would be like, I forget what gun cops use, but we're calling that a cop gun because cops use it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I
Like,
see what you're saying.
anywho, but so that's my little rant on swords. I was thinking we could talk real fast because we talked about it a lot in the group chat. I don't think you were a part of it, but Alan Moore,
Mm.
he famously hates every adaptation of his books,
Mm.
and he hates movies now. Like, and
Who could blame him?
well, he's a grumpy old man for sure. But I was looking at his movies, films based on his movies, and they're all shit in my opinion. It sounded like fellow nerd Adrian, fellow nerd Dan disagreed because they liked a couple of them. Adrian seems to be hostile towards Alan Moore. I'm not sure if he's joking or not, but like he actively wants him to be like to have a fall of some kind. I don't know.
Yes.
Alan Moore, in my opinion, is a genius, one of the best writers I've ever read.
Mm.
But yeah, but let's just look at his movies. Batman: The Killing Joke, shit.
That was garbage.
From Hell, shit. V for Vendetta is the best of them, but yeah, exactly. Constantine, shit. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, so bad that Sean Connery quit acting.
Right. Just because he gave up his role for Gandalf, did it to himself.
And then Watchmen, which I also think is shit. Now, a lot of people hotly defend Watchmen. Maybe if I had never read the novel, or not the novel, the comic, I would maybe think that, but it's just it I mean, I hate to say this because like it upsets certain people, but Snyder didn't understand Watchmen. I mean, it glorifies violence. You know, character Rorschach is like a badass, and he's everybody's favorite character. It's just like, what is going on here? Anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't care. That's it. I don't know.
You don't care about the whole topic about Alan Moore's books being made into movies?
I completely missed this part of the group chat. Um, of those movies that you listed, V for Vendetta is the most palatable of them, followed by a distant second, which I guess would be the Watchmen movie.
But so much like the okay, so I mean, you didn't like the movies either, but like it sucks. Can you imagine this? You're this like amazing writer,
and,
and like also he got fucked over on Watchmen because the agreement with DC
mm-hmm.
was after the initial run, the rights were supposed to revert to him and the artist.
Okay.
And they Watchmen sold gangbusters, so they were like,
no,
and we're keeping it. And then they made the movie and all this kind of stuff. Alan Moore is so dejected by this
right,
that he won't take any money from Watchmen. He said, "Just give any of my residuals to the artist."
wow.
The guy who made what was it, V for Vendetta, said like, "Oh, Alan Moore was like, well, you know, love this and shit." And he claims to be this big Alan Moore fan.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Moore was like, "No, don't ever say that." And like,
Oof.
it's like, and then what's his name, Snyder. When people were like, "Well, hang on, all the themes and stuff and Watchmen don't make any sense," he famously said, "Oh, it's a satire." Not a satire. Like it's just like I feel so hurt for Alan Moore. You know, like you can totally see like everything he creates, all these things, and
then
they're
people just fuck
amazing.
it up. Yeah, it just
And all these people are turning all his movies, turning his things into these. It's just like how different is Constantine to Constantine?
right.
You know, like that's it's glaring. You know, like
It's
people
no.
are loving.
I see what you're saying now. Look, that God, it sucks that somebody
I mean, Batman: The Killing Joke. They added that whole thing with him having sex with Barbara.
That was so weird. Like the last half, like the second half of that, like you omit that first part because that wasn't even in the comic. But yeah, I don't know. Because he did do Killing Joke, didn't he?
Yeah,
So
he did The Killing Joke, From Hell, League
yeah. So good God, I forgot that he did Killing Joke. Killing Joke is so good.
That's what I mean. It's like this, like yeah, he writes these amazing stories,
and they're just fucked up. I mean, I'm a creator, and it would suck if something I created with Quantum just turned around and they said, "No, we're doing this," and just completely miss the entire like point of what it is I was trying to create and tell in the first place. So no, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was just something I was thinking about this week, and then I actually looked at his movies, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they're all bad. Like, there's not one that's good." You know.
All right.
I understand people like V for Vendetta, but again, it's just like compare V for like okay, like people are like, "Oh, Constantine was good." Well, it's so
different.
It's so different. Yeah, it's Constantine name only, and like V for Vendetta is like kind of like that too. Like
Yeah.
V in the movie is an anti-hero.
Yeah.
V in the book is not. He's someone who goes around murdering people. Like
Right.
and then like the villains are very clear cut, like fascist Nazis in the movie. In the comic, they're using fascism to save England, and it's kind of working. But people have lost their freedom. You know, it's one of those kind of discussions.
Right.
And so there's not really a good guy, and that's kind of what makes it interesting. He it's more black and white in the movie. I feel like it's dumbed down by making it muddy and gray with no good guy in sight.
Right.
You're kind of like, oh, this is an interesting story.
Right.
But anyway, that's my opinion. I know a lot of you guys disagreed with me on this. People were, like, oh, yeah, Constantine's so great. Oh, Watchmen is the best Zack Snyder movie there is. V for Vendetta was like beyond cool. People were reposting I posted that thing. They were like, what's it like imagining that, what's it? What's the movie? Watchmen is a bad movie. But then again, there was a lot of people though who were like, yeah, people who like Watchmen are people that haven't read the book. You know what I mean? And
Right,
like
right.
it's kind of like, yeah, I think a lot of it is actually Dan said he was going to go out and read some of these books.
He should.
So
Actually, I could let him borrow Watchmen. I have it. He really
you know
enjoyed
what,
what's it?
Ronan?
Yeah, he really enjoyed Ronan. So
Yeah, you know what? Someone there's a YouTuber I was watching his video on this very topic.
mm.
He compared this to Disney with their live action remakes.
Okay. No,
So
okay.
how it doesn't like the Lion King, like all the emotions gone because it
Right.
doesn't translate
It
into the
doesn't
new
translate.
medium.
Right.
And then Dan was saying like he doesn't think that if he goes and reads these are going to ruin the movies for him. So it's like if you really like Watchmen, you really like V for Vendetta. I'm wondering if that's the case, but I'm also wondering like if you grew up watching. I mean, if you're a kid and you watched, say, Aladdin,
Mm.
the new one, if we went and then showed you the real Aladdin, would you? Would it make you not like the one you watched, or you know what I mean? Like
Right.
how does that work in reverse? Like,
Right. Well, it's interesting. There's a photo that was dropped from the new live action Snow White movie that Disney's making. Apparently, it's not going to be the seven dwarves anymore. It's just going to be the seven magical people, and it showed a picture of Snow White, and then you saw just seven normal humans of various shapes and colors. Peter Dinklage actually came out and said that he was for the change because he felt that it demeaned dwarves. But I was watching an interview with a Wee Man of all people, and he actually thought the opposite. He said, "No, it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. What you're doing is you're taking away work from dwarves to give to other people. Like I thought you were against that, Disney. Like you're all about representing the proper thing. Why are you taking jobs away from dwarves? It's Snow White and the
I
Seven
didn't know
Dwarves."
they were those kind of dwarves. I thought they were like Tolkien style
I
dwarves.
mean,
They
so
got
did I, but it's in the portrayal, I guess. So it was interesting hearing those two opposing thoughts from two humans who happen to also be dwarves. Um, I actually felt like rewatching the OG Snow White lately. It's been forever since I've seen it.
I just, you know what I mean? Like, I think you could watch the new Aladdin and be like, oh, that was a good movie. But it's just when you compare it to like the genie, like Will Smith's genie, it doesn't have what the other
Robin
one did because
Williams, right?
well, it was Robin Williams in his peak, and it was also animated. So,
You
and they
could,
used the medium of animation to like really like push. And I think a lot of Alan Moore's projects are like that. So I
mm,
can see. I think it's a good comparison.
yeah, yeah,
It's like taking it and then putting it somewhere where it just doesn't quite work for what it once was.
right,
Could you watch Aladdin and have a good time? Absolutely.
right,
I just think that if you watch the OG Aladdin, it's so much better. And
right.
then you watch the new one and you're like, eh. And I mean, it's not bad, but but I'm wondering, like, because like I said, said he's gonna read some of these.
Mm.
So will he always enjoy it because that was his first? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. Well,
Um,
next time I see him, I'll let him borrow Watchmen. He'll enjoy it.
so another one I got is villains you love to hate. So
Oh
like
gosh, so I discussed this a couple weeks ago. The actress who played the new Doctor Smith in the Netflix Lost in Space. I had to stop
yeah, but
watching
you
it.
said she was too hateful and you couldn't watch her. I mean, like Homelander. I think he's a piece of shit. I hate him, but I love watching him.
Right. I mean,
Who's gonna
Joffrey's a
be in
good
the new
one.
MK game? Yeah, Joffrey's the big one that I always think of. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but Homelander's going to be in the new Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I saw
So
that. And Omni Man.
yeah.
Yep. So that's cool.
But yeah, so yeah, like well, I was talking this over with that real super killers. He actually likes Homelander as a character. He doesn't hate like him like I do. But yeah, I and I'm interested to know where that because he feels like Homelander is someone that is a nature versus nurture thing. Like
Yes, he is a product of. I mean that is Homelander. He's a product of this company, and it is the nature versus nurture type thing where You just
I guess, but maybe. I mean, like it's like remember when that blind guy was testing out, and then he's like,
the
"Oh,
deaf
so I have a
guy,
question."
the
Yeah,
deaf
no,
guy.
he was blind because he goes, "Well, I have a question. What happens when I do this?" And he smacks his ears, and he's bleeding out his
Yeah,
ears.
yeah,
And he was like, "I won't have a cripple on my team," and all this, and it's just like, so I mean, he's such a piece of shit. Like, I can't like him at all.
yeah. Right.
But I like him as a character because I enjoy watching him.
Yeah.
I feel like that on a lot of good villains. Like Joker, I think is a piece of shit. But
Joker's
like,
another good one. Joker's one of my favorite villains. So
yeah, but there's some villains that you can be sympathetic towards, and like Doctor Doom, I think is one of them.
hmm.
Although he is very evil. But I don't know, Magneto, I guess would be another.
Magneto's a good one.
But then there's villains like Homelander that you're just like, wow.
Piece
I,
of
I
shit.
I forgot to mention it. One of the scenes I was really surprised they dropped in All Star Superman,
Mm.
because I think it's one of Superman's best moments. Is he is going around, um, he's saving a what do you call it, a train,
Mm.
and as he does, I think it's a train. It's been a while since I read it, but as he does, he hears a doctor talking on the phone.
Mm.
He was talking to a girl who's suicidal. He's like, "Please, I'm delayed. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get there." Blah blah blah. And then it cuts to the girl, and she's like crying, about to jump off the ledge. And then Superman lands, and he's like, "Hey, your doctor really was delayed because he overheard it with a super hearing."
Mm.
And he's like, and he holds her and stuff like that.
Mm.
And it's just one of the best, most iconic moments in Superman. They played off it in The Boys on
Yeah.
Homelander's birthday. But yeah, I was really surprised they dropped that in that movie, in All Star Superman, because it's like one of the best parts in the comics.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess we're coming up at that time.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it. So for those who watch, thanks for watching. We're gonna figure out if anything changes with OBS no longer connecting to Twitter. But in the meantime, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch looks like we're broadcasting still. Anyways, we like to end the show with a nerdy quote. Yeah, hold on before we end the show. What are we pitching next? Are we doing Indiana Jones, or do you want to scrap that and do a board game?
I mean, we can, yeah, whatever you want. We'll do the board game idea. So I don't know. We'll make a list this week of some board games we'll roll on.
Yeah. We'll do that. So stay tuned for that. Like, comment, subscribe, all that crap. We like to end the show with a nerdy quote from Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, set us away.
No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die.